My name is David, and just a quick background. I'm from the South. I'm from Texas, and I did do a tour with the Marine Corps back in the 90s. Shortly after that, my wife and I moved out here to California. We were in Carolina, and I did some odd jobs and custom cabinetry for a couple of years until 9/11. 9/11 occurred. Without a waiver, I couldn't get back into the Marine Corps easily at the same rank that I got out. So I applied for and was accepted to a local sheriff's office. And then I did almost 20 years and started having some back pain. Come to find out, my lower back had some significant injury that would preclude me from continuing work as a full-duty police officer. There's a lot of physicalities that have to do with it, and I could muscle through them, but was not what I would call efficient anymore. I'm fine with that. The Workers' Compensation Unit approved me to enter what's called a functional restoration program. I had no idea what I was getting into, but at that point, I was battling a very, very significant depression that I was told resulted from a compound PTSD. For several reasons, and I won't get into the underlying issues with my PTSD. However, I knew at that point that I needed some other help. I wasn't going to be able to white knuckle this myself. So the beginning of the functional restoration program, day one, I knew I could get comfortable with it. I'm not a big group person. Crowds make me a little nervous, and I've never been very good at asking for help. This was an opportunity for someone to stand up and say, you don't have to ask, just come, and then we'll work with you from day one. And I saw that immediately. There are the nicest people in this building. We came through the very first day when I came through the door, I was greeted with just a level of joy from someone who is doing doing a task for dozens of people a day, coming in and out of the door, and then doing receptionist work. And the people that I met right off the bat were just, it put me at ease. And I hadn't expected it, so it caught me off guard. Then my injury, I knew my injury from a physical standpoint was what I needed to really concentrate on. And I knew that there was at least an aspect of this FRP that was going to do that for me. Little did I know that there was also a much larger and comprehensive emotional and mental aspect to this program that I think was more of a dictating standard to get me better, because I knew that the physicality was what upset me, but I really had to get into my mind to find out what is the real underlying issue and how do I get comfortable with this. I'm a control freak. I fix things. For 20 years as a cop, that's what I was meant to do, is to fix things. And I'd gotten to a point in my life where I was no longer allowed to fix anything. Just incidentally, I was also going through a divorce at the time. So everything that I had built my persona on up to this point was being taken away from me, or was leaving my realm of influence. I no longer had influence on my job because I was not physically capable of doing what I needed to do. I no longer really had a whole lot of control of my family because we were splitting up, and I had to respect that, at least on my wife's side. So I have to respect everyone involved with that. So that led me to the deep depression that literally I was in a deep, deep depression when I started FRP. So when I talk about my injuries, I obviously have to talk about the physicalities first, But then I realized that there's just a much greater amount of need for me to address the emotional and mental aspect. You know what? I believe there was, because I had never been real big into any meditation, yoga, Tai Chi, the inner workings of someone that makes you feel better. I've never done that. My whole life, it's been me pushing others. It's been me giving the encouragement. It's been me setting standards, writing tests, whether it be in the military service or in the police service, or as a family. I'd never realized what it felt like to be helped. So when I started getting into some of this mindfulness, meditation, the Tai Chi was really, we did Tai Chi every day. I've never done Tai Chi in my life. I think it's cool. I've done a lot of martial arts, but that's some fast, aggressive, mostly offensive, a little bit defensive. And then I realized some of the moves in the Tai Chi were very, very similar. But they just slowed life down. And each time, whether it was with Rich doing the Tai Chi sessions or one of the psychologists coming in and doing mindfulness with us and making us sit down for 30 minutes and meditate quietly. Let's think inside. I've never done that, and it opened up. That's where my aha moments came. And quite often, to be honest with you, as uncomfortable as I am sometimes with that, I got tears on days that I did not know my emotional bank needed to be opened. I had no idea. I would show up and all of a sudden be flooded with emotions that I didn't realize I was capable of feeling. This program opened that up to me, and I think I brought that into my ability to take the physical aspect to a different level, sometimes to my own detriment. I'm too old to do the things I did when I was 25, but I still came in and tried them, and you know, I suffered a little bit about it, but I never, feeling as I was in the Deep Depression, I never realized I could reach in this new level of, you know, what we call the ongoing pain level. And I knew that this was going to be a forever thing for me. And this, by the time I was finished with this program, I realized they weren't kidding about, we're going to give you tools to deal with chronic pain. We're not going to tell you that we're going to make the pain go away. We're not going to tell you that it's going to go away. We're not going to tell you that you're not okay because you're at a certain level of pain. That was huge. Realizing throughout the program that I was getting better. But it was a very, very eclectic mix of staff members driving hard to help you reach a goal and then being there right beside you if and when you needed to fall. And quite often they would foresee those moments for you. Hey, you might be pushing a little too hard, and here are some possible outcomes. And it may have been pushing hard physically, it may have been pushing hard emotionally, mentally. They were always there to watch and see if you veered a little bit, or if you needed to fall, or if you just needed a shoulder to lean on. I didn't expect that. I really didn't. Before I did things out of necessity, everything, I was reactive in nature. Some people say, "Oh, well, you're a cop. That's just the way it is." I don't really believe that needs to be the way it is. I think cops can be emotionally and mentally vulnerable sometimes and still do their job very effectively. In fact, maybe more so. But I knew that I was taking life differently and in my opinion, wrong. I was doing things wrong. I was controlling every sphere of influence in my life. I was trying to. And when that gets out of control, that becomes dangerous for people like me because I must always be in control. This program taught me it's not necessary. It also taught me something that I had realized before but never put into play, and that's humans are tribal in nature. We exist as a community, and it might be a small community, it might be a large community, but most of the people in this program, I realize, want to do it themselves. Let me do it all myself. I can do this, and I'm starting to realize, and I came to this epiphany in this program that it doesn't matter what you do. If it's difficult, you're always going to be able to do it more effectively, more efficiently in a group, in a community that supports you. And that was what I got here from day one. Very surprised that it changed the way I interact with public, with family, even with my ex-wife. And understanding that the main rule in life is let's take it a day at a time, let's take it one step at a time and evaluate each difficult situation with thoughtfulness. They really, really gave me those tools. Most people that come in here have difficulty trusting someone to help them. When I began, it's a little easier for me because I'm off work right now, and I'm looking for, I'm working toward a retirement. So I had some time to dedicate to this, but outside of the time just in this building, I didn't have to schedule time to do the things that I was learning here. And the way I started is I could have easily said, this is not for me, I'm out. And that's within my personality. But instead, I chose to be belligerent on day one and tell myself, I'm going to dedicate on this program. I'm going to dedicate this program, and I'm going to dedicate my time to this program, and I'm going to make it work for me regardless. I said that day one. Now, it became very easy on day two when I realized that that's what this program is here for. But I had to go forward and say, you know what, this is a whole new group of people. I don't know if I'm going to agree with them, classmates, peers. I don't know how the dynamic is going to go, but like I said, I was going to be belligerent and say, well, I'm going to force every day that good dynamic moving forward. I'm going to force myself to be outside of my comfort zone. And once I got past that very first hurdle of, I reserve my right to completely poo-poo this whole program. Once I got past that, I realized that if you come into this program vulnerable and understanding that this might be bigger than you, and you dedicate yourself to that one thought, this is a community of helpful hints, fellowship with peers, good relationships with your caregivers. We are surrounded by caregivers. I've never been in a medical program where you come in and it's a one-stop shop. And the caregivers every day met. You had your emotional, your physical therapy, yoga, all of these staff members got together and talked and said, yeah, I understand he was having a tough time emotionally today because of A, B, and C. And then maybe that leaked into the physical aspect. But they all could speak to the different aspects, and it really made a complete picture, and they were able to come back to me and give me a specific goal, small goals and objectives to reach. I say day one, if you think you're giving something away, then take the power back and say, you know what, I'm going to make this program work for me. And you'll see very soon that this program will mold itself to you within a week and a half. It will mold itself to you, and then you will be comfortable in the way you apply this program and the tools you learn. As we talk today, later on today, I have an interview with my representative from University of Arizona. Through this program, I became very solid in my decision to approach law enforcement differently now that I'm going to retire, and I'm going to go get a master's degree in psychology. And this is the program that gave me the courage to follow through with that. With everything else going in my life, great. Do I need to enter a master's program at a 4-year university? I'm going to. But this gave me the courage to do more with my life. And I kind of wanted to give up when I started the program. I had nothing left. I felt like I had nothing left. Everything had been taken from me. And now I realize there's so much more out there. And if I can succeed, then I can pass that on to a community of others that want to hear what I would consider at the end of the day a success story for me.